Hey everyone, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. I hope your day is going great by the time you're watching this. But today I will be talking to you about what gear that did not work to my expectations on the Pinhoti trail and what I will be switching out for other gear on the AT. So I'll just go ahead and step into clothing as the first discussion. So I think I had mentioned before that I was going to be wearing this one V-neck shirt that I wore while out on the foothills trail. Well, I decided to go with something different, which is just another dry fit shirt that I found randomly. I've had it for a couple years now and I just really like it. Does the same job as the other thing, it fits better on me. So I will be taking this one instead to wear as kind of like a first initial base layer. I had also gotten this long sleeve Sweaty Betty orange shirt to wear. It's kind of like a thermal. It's a little bit tight fitting, but not so tight fitting it's uncomfortable. It's long sleeve, it's bright, and it does all the jobs that I need it to do. The only complaint is that the bottom of it's a little bit tight, so it likes to kind of ride up a little bit. But I think it's mostly because my hips are bigger than most people's. So I don't know, it works. It'll serve as a good warm layer for these cold months. And I think I wore this pretty much all the time on the Pinhoti trail. If I took off my other base layer, I just strapped it onto the back of my pack and it just worked as like a flag, I guess. So this is pretty good to wear if it's too hot for anything heavier. And then another base layer that I'm bringing that I've already talked about is my North Face microgrid hoodie. It's got pockets, a hood. That's it. It's just warm, so sometimes I'll walk in all 3 layers, sometimes just these 2, sometimes just this one. But it was pretty cold on the Pinhoti, so I mostly wore these 2 and would just take this off after an hour or so of walking. As for pants, I will be taking, I wore this pretty much, I think all the time while I was out on the Pinhoti, but it's these Helly Hansen base layer leggings. So nothing to them really, they're just thin, they're lightweight, breathable, so I'll be taking these with me because I never really took them off unless I was to clean them. And then I've also got these Bay Leaf hiking pants that I really like. I've had these for over a year now. They've held up pretty well. I fell one time and I got a hole in like kind of like the shin area, and then I think one of the zippers kind of went bust on me on like day 4, but I think that was kind of my own fault with the way I was zipping it up, but it's not the biggest deal. And if I got my fanny pack with me, I don't really need to put anything in the pockets. It's just nice to have. But I'll be taking these with me as well, and I can just take them off really easily if I need to. Another layer I will be taking with me and getting rid of is, so I'll be getting rid of this long sleeve shirt that I brought to wear at camp. But I had all these other layers and it was just too cold to take these off and to put this one layer on. It probably would have been nice, and it was nice to have this as a clean layer to wear around town, but I'm just gonna switch this heavier layer out for this much lighter short sleeve shirt. That's pretty much the same shirt as I wore on the foothills trail. It's just gray instead of pink. And then if I need to wear anything over it, I can just throw my puffy on since I'm not gonna be washing that thing, or a raincoat or whatever. So this will be going with me instead of the other one to wear while my other stuff is getting cleaned or whatever. I probably don't even need to bring that much, but I'm going to start with that. And then one thing I didn't bring with me, mostly because I forgot, were these shorts. I think they're just like active shorts by New Balance. They don't come with the underwear lining, so I would just be taking my ex officios with me, but they're just really lightweight, and I honestly just forgot them. Not that I really was going to wear them anyways because it was too cold most of the time. But I'll just be wearing these over the Helly Hansen layer. And then I also will be bringing my smart wool base layers to throw on over my other pants at night and to wear while I'm cleaning my other clothes. And then for a sports bra, I just got, it's by, I don't even think it's a real brand, but I just got it at Marshall's and just took out the padding, since the padding just shifts around it all the time. So it's got like this layer or wiring on the back. Nothing fancy. It was like a 2-pack for a couple bucks, or like $14. So that is my clothing. Some warm layers I'm bringing specifically is, I really liked this when I was on the Pinhoti trail, so I'll be bringing with me for the winter months. But it is a neck buff, so you just wear it on your neck. It's got this cinch if you want to like tighten the air around the neck. You could also put it up over your nose and it will hold up pretty well. I use that function a lot at camp in the morning and at night. I brought a separate hat because I talked about how the headband, wearing the headband to sleep, would give me forehead acne because I had all my sweat and stuff in there. So I'm bringing this for camp specifically, and also to like keep my whole head warm. And I'll pull the hat over my eyes too, because that moon can shine pretty bright. And I like the darkness when I sleep. And then during the day, I'll be wearing my merino wool buff. So I just kind of like fold it up and it goes around my head. And yeah, there was one time I like thought I lost it in Talladega, but it was in the bottom of my pack the whole time. And I really did not like not having this. So this is definitely like one of my favorite things to wear because it just keeps your ears really warm, your head really warm. And if it gets too hot, you can just like slip it around your neck or pull it back off your ears so your ears can like, you know, breathe and release some hot air. I don't think I mentioned this when I made my last gear video, but I ended up getting this before I went on the Pinhoti trail. It is a sleeping bag liner. And I really like this because it helps keep stuff inside my quilt that I don't want outside my quilt. Like maybe a water bottle that I want to keep warm to not let it freeze overnight. My electronics, is good to sleep with your electronics if it gets below freezing, that's for sure. Your like filter, your water filter, if you're not going to sleep with it like in your pants or anything like that, it's good to throw it into here. And I honestly feel like it provided me with a little bit more warmth too, because sometimes with a quilt you might have a draft, and this kind of helps seal off that draft a little bit, or at least provides an extra layer for the draft to get through before it gets to you. So I like this. It doesn't really weigh much, and then it kind of helps serve an additional purpose. If you're at a hostel in the AT or in a foreign country, you can use this as your initial layer before crawling into whatever bedding is out there. I also had got myself the X-Therm by Thermarest, and I got it mainly because I knew I was going to be experiencing really cold temperatures. However, it really, really annoyed me with how hard it was to actually blow this thing up. Even with the pump sack, I feel like the pump sack should like cut the breast in half, if not more. And it was just hard to blow this thing up with a pump sack. So, and it was also really hard to find a good way to pack this up inside the backpack. So like you could roll it, but then it's just like this giant thing because it's so long. There wasn't like a short size for it when I bought it. So I will, and it's got a warmer R value than the other Thermarests out there, and even the Pariah one that I have. I think it's got like a 6 or a 6.2. So that was the other reason why I bought it, and it's full length. And I do really like that it's full length, but it just takes too much to actually pack, like blow it up, like forever. So I will just be taking my Pariah with me instead. It's like 5 pumps out of this sack, and it's just so easy I really miss this like the whole time, and I can just like, if I want something underneath my feet, I can just slide my sleeping pad down or throw my backpack underneath my feet like I used to. So I will be taking this instead of the other sleeping pad. I think I'll also be switching out some of my Diddy bags for my ultra sacks that I got off of Etsy. Just because I think that they're lighter and they provide, I think it's made out of Dyneema too. So it provides more waterproofness to like my electronics bag or whatever other bag that I'm using. Some things that I'm also switching out is my socks. So one of the main reasons I got off the Pinhoti, other than that it was cold as hell and there was no one on the Pinhoti, was because I got a really, really bad blister on my pinky. Like, it was ugly. I did make the mistake of popping it and taking off the skin, which didn't help, but either way, it would have been pretty gnarly to keep walking on it. But everyone was like, oh yeah, the 2-sock method, like, you won't get blisters. I got a blister. I don't know if it's because my toe was rubbing against the outside of my shoe. I mean, that definitely plays a part into it. But I feel like if the 2-sock method really worked, that wouldn't have happened, at least not at the point that it did happen. So I might try another week or 2 with these socks, because I did, I'm trying out parallel lacing for my shoes that's supposed to provide your feet more room. So if that doesn't work, then I'm going to ditch the socks and just keep my darn tufts. So we'll see how that goes. I might also ditch my extra battery pack since I'll be going into towns at least once a week on the AT, or at least coming into like a charging port. So I'm not as worried about stuff dying. Another thing I didn't bring with me that I had duct tape with me to wrap stuff up, but I didn't bring any sports tape. I won't be taking this whole thing, but I definitely forgot to bring some sports tape, as well as new skin, and then sunscreen. Those are things I will be taking with me, because I think the new skin would have really helped with my toe. The sports tape would have really helped with my toe. And I think I did grab some of that skin tape, whatever that one's called. So that should help. Another change I'm making with my kind of dinner setup is I would just be boiling water in here mainly, and like probably drinking coffee out of here or something, and then eating out of this bag, because the inside of it's made out of Mylar. And then I can just pour the hot water in there, let my food cook, go do something else like I would with my pot. But instead I don't have to worry about food burning in my pot like it did one night on the Pinhoti. And made my food taste really bad, and I was really concerned about things continuing to burn. So I'll just be cooking food up in here and then switching this out when it gets really gross or something. So another thing that ended up changing was my food bag. I didn't get the one that I showed you guys earlier in that photo, because something happened where they couldn't find this address and it got sent back to Etsy, and then Etsy was sold out of the bag that I originally had gotten. But that's okay, because I think most food bags people are getting are like the Z-Packs blue ones, and this one's red, and it's also my favorite color. So it holds about 5 or 7 days worth of food, and it's by Hilltop Packs Company, or yeah. So it's just made out of Dyneema. It's got a button, and then you can roll it if you have the space, and then just clip it. And it's got this nice ribbon on the side, so you can just loop your rope through there and then tie your knot and hang your bag. So I think this would be nice, and I could probably duct tape, or not duct tape, but like write my name on it somewhere too with like marker. So and then another thing is I didn't bring this a steak stack with me before, but I think I'm going to this round on the trail, because it just kind of concerned me not like throwing the steaks in with my tent in the same bag, because I didn't want to poke a hole in my tent, and at least like if anything happens, it's got to go through this before it gets to my tent. Well, this is actually the original tent stake that goes with my tent, so, or the bag. So that's good. And then one last thing is, where'd it go? or second to last thing, I think. But I am switching this thing out, this tripod out for this tripod, mainly because this one's really big, it's bulkier, it's harder to put into a side pocket. This one's a lot smaller, easier to put into a side pocket, weighs less. And this one, so like the iPhone has the ultra wide lens, and every time I try to use that one with this, it kept getting like this part in the shot or like the leg in the shot, and I didn't like that for obvious reasons. So I don't think that I'll get that with this guy. And it's just, obviously it's lighter and smaller, so it'll just be easier to use in that sense. And then another thing I would like to recommend to people, in addition to all the other recommendations that are out there, but no one really talks about this recommendation, is to buy phone storage. So iCloud space, Google Drive space for your photos, because I ran into an issue where I guess I didn't have enough cloud storage, or even if I did, it got full and my photos never saved. And then when I did everything that they told me to do, and I should have had the space on my phone just, I don't know. Anyways, long story short, I lost all my photos from day 1 through 5 on the Pinhoti Trail. And I kind of wrecked my boat a little bit there. So I would recommend buying phone storage space, whether that be, Google Drive or iCloud. And then to also like back your photos up some other way. So my hiking partner on the Pinhoti Drive, he had folders he would put his photos in and then delete his photos from his phone to make phone space. And then another thing I used to do when I would take photos with my DSLR camera was to upload those to like a Google Draft message or like any sort of email message, and just save them to that message draft. So like just open up Google email and then, or Gmail, and then open up a message, just like give it a title, pictures from day 1 or whatever, and then just upload all the photos and videos you want for that day, and then they're just there in that draft and they're saved. So that was something I used to do, and then I didn't anymore because I got a higher storage phone. And then this thing happened and I wish I had done that. So just have like 3 different backups for your photos and videos, so you don't have to lose all that important stuff, because I really didn't like losing that stuff. And yeah, it would be nice to have the pictures and images, or pictures and videos that I had taken, and I don't have those anymore. And I think that's about it. But anyways, take all the advice with a grain of salt and have a fun trip. Thanks.